Hello, Rama Rama Pupodu. Hope all are in good health, feeling wonderful, relaxed, peaceful, and happy always. Now, let's continue with chapter 17, part 4. Ramdas is a child of God. A few days later, the same sannyasi came to Ramdas and asked, "Don't you know the great Swami Akhanda Anandji is here? Have you seen him?" "To see you is see him," Ramdas simply replied. "No, Maharaj, you ought to see him," he said with a serious look. "He is only a few yards from the ashram, seated beneath a grove of trees. He always prefers to stay in jungles and does not like to reside beneath a roof. He is famous Mahatma. He is going away tomorrow morning. If you don't have his darshan today, you will lose a golden opportunity." For Ramdas, God is everywhere. He need not go specially anywhere to see him. Ramdas answered. "What?" he exclaimed with surprise. "You don't want to see him? You shall go to him," he added emphatically, and taking hold of Ramdas' arm, almost dragged him. "Come, I am also going with you." He was a strong man, and Ramdas did not resist. A few minutes' walk brought them to a large assembly of sannyasis. Seated beneath the shade of about half a dozen tall spreading trees, on a cot against the tree sat a sannyasi with only a loin cloth or cowpin on, while all the rest were seated on the ground. Ramdas went directly to the Swamiji and placed his head at his feet, and sat down on the ground near the cot. Now a stillness seemed to have settled on the gathering. All was silent for a few minutes. The Swamiji broke the ice. He said to a commonly dressed devotee sitting beside Ramdas, "Ask him if he has any doubts to clear." The Swamiji spoke in Hindi. The devotee was an English educated man. He interpreted the Swamiji's question to Ramdas in English. Ramdas' knowledge of Hindi was yet poor, so he, of course, replied in English. Ramdas is a child of God, and he has long ago removed all doubts of his child. The devotee conveyed to the Swamiji in Hindi what Ramdas said. "What is his position then?" came the next question from the Swamiji. "His position is this," Ramdas replied. "He is like the river Ganges, which, having reached the ocean and become one with it, still continues running towards it." When the Swamiji and others heard the reply, a titter went round in the congregation. The Swamiji remained silent. Then the devotee on his own part put a poser. "What brought you here then?" A significant question. Ramdas came simply because Ram dragged him here, was the answer, and he looked at the sannyasi escort and smiled. "What is it?" the Swamiji asked the devotee inquisitively. The devotee explained, and there arose a loud roar of laughter from the assembly. Then Ramdas suddenly jumped up, and bowing again to the Swamiji, ran a race to his room and the outhouse, which he reached in less than a minute. Swami Rama Anand was a simple and kind soul. He looked after Ramdas with great tenderness. He counted on Ramdas' stay in the ashram for a pretty long time. In his own way, he was watchful. Ramdas knew that to leave the place with his knowledge was out of question. Ram was bidding him to decamp, but how? Ram provided the opportunity one day. The sun was unusually hot. At midday, some of the elderly sannyasis would have their 40 winks, but this particular day, the heat of the sun laid prostrate both of the young and old. The outhouse at about 1 in the afternoon resounded with a variety of snores. Swami Rama Anand led the rest. Ramdas, who was all alive and active, taking the god pot in hand, slowly slipped out of the compound on the tiptoe. He reached the road, making the least possible noise. The sannyasi is never the wiser. Once on the road, he started on a trot which soon developed into a downright gallop. He ran for a mile and then walked at a brisk pace. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Pupoda.